I'm already doing it.
What is this? I'm confused.
I took a back.
Okay, this was the most boringest map ever. What is this?
I didn't even do it.
Oh, let's go. This looks fun. Huh?
Actual fog mechanics and bone lab.
Hey, what the?
Bone lab or bone hub. Bone. Lumbago vision. Booga ooga. Kaka. Ooga. Ooga blitz. Decline.
Which kind does that feel like?
Bro, don't end this. Don't end this. I want to do this.
I'm nearest to the end, I think.
Not even close. After that, you gotta go on. Checkpoint. Okay.
Wait, don't. Do we press next?
I didn't even beat it yet.
Man, I'm about to blow.
Labels says they believe that there is some path for a third-party candidate, and we should say that it's not. And No Labels always makes this known. It's not an independent ticket. It's a unity ticket, meaning you would run one Democrat, which presumably would be a Joe Manchin or Kirsten Sinema or someone like that, and one Republican. Susan Collins is also co-chair of this.
Can you do
but
next?
some kind of Republican, so then you get both of them, and perhaps they wrongly see a path to win, which again is wrong. It's crazy that you could imagine a third-party candidate winning.
There was a call that the head of No Labels did with a bunch of donors that was reported by Puck. And first of all, there's one part in which Nancy Jacobson, who leads No Labels, says that they got Pearl Harbored by Third Way.
Yeah.
Because Third Way is the one that said, hey, everybody, look out, this third party.
They wrote a memo.
This third party bid is coming.
That was their Pearl Harbor.
And so they got Pearl Harbored by a memo, which I just enjoyed the phrasing of. But they weren't planning to have this out there yet, which is I think why. And basically they knew that what was coming is you're just going to be a spoiler. But what was interesting in the call is there's one point where Jacobson says this, and I do actually find this reassuring. If this is not a national sensation and the crowds are not coming out, then it's not happening. We're getting out of this. We can get out of this by the end of August, pull the plug. That's the latest we can get off the ballot. I know there's a lot of fears about all this. What I'd love to hear on these calls is more of a can-do spirit of why can't we convince other people? Why can't we do this? So even on this call with donors, there was a little bit of what she described as dark and doom and gloom. So that to me was reassuring and that at least underneath the bravado and the bullshit, there's some understanding that this may be a completely futile and stupid and, grift.
Pearl Harbor. What are you talking about?
Here's one example of how dangerous this could be. In 2016, voters who didn't like Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton tended to vote for Donald Trump. He won those voters. And partly because some of them went for Jill Stein or Gary Johnson. In 2020, voters who didn't like Trump or Biden still chose Biden by 15 points. You give those voters a third choice in 2024, it's going to hurt Biden, and it doesn't have to hurt him by that much. A couple states, 2%, 1-2%. That's it. You're done.
It's an enormously dangerous and stupid organization. They're raising $70 million, they said, or they want to, including $100,000 from Clarence Thomas's sugar daddy Harlan Crow. So that's fun.
Also, the voters who happen to be the weakest partisans also happen to be the most low information voters and the more likely to think, oh, maybe a unity ticket could win because they're not paying close attention to politics. So that's again another reason why this is dangerous.
Yeah.
It's very bad.
It's
cynical
and gross.
Maybe we'll get
You know that red pipe?
Yeah, I didn't even see that.
You can grapple
I'm thinking
onto
out loud
it.
here.
I do think at some point we just got the third way memo, the Pearl Harbor attack.
A day that will live in infamy.
A day will live in
A memo
infamy.
that will
That
live in
needs to
infamy.
be Democratic groups, super PACs, all that, they need to get the message out to more people that if this does happen, there is no chance the unity ticket is winning. And so you're just throwing away your vote if you're voting for
Listen, I think I'm opposed to mindless partisanship and, the silly tribalism that we sometimes see in politics, but I will wait for it. But mindless centrism is equally stupid. Just combining Republicans and Democrats together doesn't mean you stand for something. I'm a Democrat because I believe in a bunch of things that on balance the Democratic Party supports. That's why people join political parties. Well, treating that like a sinful act or like it's gross or distasteful is stupid and annoying and classic DC idiot centrist debate.
But maybe he'll run on permitting reform.
Yeah, you could have kicked it on the
It's also just you step back from all of it. It's like Joe Manchin, who has confirmed all these Democratic judges, who has supported, who made possible passing the Inflation Reduction Act, which is the biggest investment in climate in history. It's like,
well, Lovitz cutting an ad for no labels here.
Well, no. My point would be that put aside all the kind of process stuff that Joe Manchin really cares about the way that Washington works. Like this guy has he by his policy votes, he should be terrified of a Trump presidency.
Man, your criticism of Dianne Feinstein in praise of Joe Manchin is troubling.
Speaking of which...
Speaking of whom?
She's back.
Yeah, she's back, baby.
She has returned to the Senate and already voted to advance 6 federal judges who'd been stuck in the Judiciary Committee because of her absence.
She lifted a Volkswagen off a kid.
That's also true. She also said, though, that her doctors have advised her to work a lighter schedule due to lingering side effects from shingles. So... all's well that ends well, or should Lovett stick with his plan to stage a sit-in outside her Senate office?
I would say this. All's well that ends. She's back. She's not resigning. I don't know how much more pressure we could have put on this 89-year-old woman. We all collectively did a great thing, which is got her to travel before her doctors wanted her to. Now she's voting in the Senate. She's not going anywhere. We got our judiciary votes. Let's make sure she votes for the fucking subpoenas. I don't know what else we're supposed to do at this point. I don't know how much more heat we can bring on this old lady.
I'm glad she's doing the bare minimum. Left unsaid is the opportunity cost of having a senator that's, I don't know, working really hard for the biggest state in the country.
A senator is more than an arm that goes
as long as we can hear I. Hey, as long as we can hear I.
You can put an I together, yeah.
Also, her staff refused the Washington Post request for any sort of memo from her doctor detailing what's going on, the complications that prevented her from traveling. They're just not disclosing anything. So this is not a good situation.
I'll also say that the fact that the day she got back, she voted for 6 judges who'd been stuck out of committee to advance them, sort of belies the argument from her staff or some other Democrats that this was not causing any problem.
Sure does.
Yeah, that turns
clearly
out
was causing some problems.
Yeah, not having a senator causes some problems on the Judiciary Committee.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
We live in the 5th largest economy in the world here, and we're represented by being represented by one senator.
One senator
here in California. Well, fucking Wyoming's got 2.
Yeah.
State less than, I don't know, 500,000 people versus 10 million in LA County. Okay.
I kind of like Wyoming, though. It's a nice place to go.
Man of the people.
I can see both sides.
Mindless partisanship.
I'm sick of all this mindless partisanship.
I'm pretty sure.
Anyway.
What else?
Anyway, that's it. That's all we have. When we come back, I will talk to the up-and-coming 25-year-old who is the state party chair of North Carolina, Anderson Clayton.
We're supposed to be doing.
And she's got a lot to say about how to turn North Carolina blue in.
It's supposed to be worldwide.
Joining us now is the chair of the North Carolina Democratic Party. At 25, she's also the youngest party chair in the country. Anderson Clayton, welcome to Pod Save America.
Thanks, Sean. I'm so excited to be on and just happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. So I was on the Obama campaign when we won North Carolina in 2008, and we all thought that by now the state would vote more like Virginia or even Georgia. But no Democratic presidential or Senate candidate has won the state since. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think Obama really had a inspiring and galvanizing across North Carolina support. He was one of those once-in-a-lifetime type of candidates that I think that just really in Person County. I took over as the Person County Democratic Party chair before I became the state party chair. And I had people that would look at me and be like, I remember when Barack Obama had an office here. And I was like, there's no way that Barack Obama had an office in Person County. but he had an organizer here, and they remember him being like the person that everyone went to and that everyone saw that campaign. And so I think when you see the trajectory that North Carolina has taken, we've let go of the grassroots a little bit more since Obama's campaign here. But also our state's just had a hard time with Republican majority, and also since 2010 when they took back our state maps, we saw an increase in gerrymandering, racial gerrymandering across our state. And so when you really look at the what we've been up against, I think over the last decade and a half really here, it's been hard for us to beat Republican extremism in that capacity.
So the Washington Post reported today that President Biden does plan to invest in North Carolina and hopefully win the state in 2024. What would you advise the campaign to do differently from what they did when they lost the state in 2020?
I think that for us, that comes in a lot from the party perspective, too. You know, we didn't have 100-strong county party operations when Joe Biden ran in 2020. We didn't have a Democratic messenger in every community and every county getting out his message. And for me, really this year in rural North Carolina in particular, I want to go ahead and I want to tout, the bipartisan infrastructure bill and the American Rescue Plans. But genuinely, because I think that both of these two pieces of legislation are historic. And for the first time, I'm from a rural part of the state, and, Joe Biden is looking at rural North Carolina and rural America and basically saying, we believe you deserve to have a future 50 years from now. And there's such a powerful thought to that message, because that's not happened in the last 50 years of a federal administration. We've never seen the investment in trying to bring back manufacturing and really make things locally again. And Joe Biden wants to do that. And particularly when you look at North Carolina's history and economically, we had a huge downfall in 2008. My dad lost his job in 2007. He was in manufacturing before that in textiles in Western North Carolina. And we saw a big population of our state just lose their jobs. And Joe Biden is trying to rectify that by bringing manufacturing back to North Carolina and back to the United States again. And I think that that's something that we can run on in North Carolina. And we need to run on it really strong, honestly. And that's what I plan to do, John. So
nice. I like it. I want to ask you more about state politics. Republicans in the legislature just passed a 12-week abortion ban. Democratic Governor Roy Cooper vetoed it over the weekend, but Republicans in the legislature hold a slim supermajority so they can override the veto if they all vote together. Is there anything Democrats can do to prevent that from happening? What are you guys thinking?
We're trying to organize the best that we can. Cooper has done an amazing job going across the state over the last week and a half, because Republicans did this under the cover of darkness, right? Last week, we had 48 hours to really understand what the 12-week abortion ban would be in North Carolina, one of the strictest abortion bans that we've seen throughout our state when you think about the actual ramifications of the bill inside it. The 46-page piece of legislation also it basically takes medication abortion down, limits it down to 10 weeks. And there's also stipulations in there where women have to go to their provider at least 3 different times before they're able to actually have an abortion. And so really, when you're looking at women that are coming in from across the country and especially across the Southeast region, it just makes that access harder. And so we're really trying to push these Republicans and let people in their districts know what's going on right now, because not everyone is paying attention to what's happening in Raleigh. And that's an unfortunate reality when you have so many other things that are going on across the state and also in your life. But we're trying to make sure that the voters in those districts are aware of it. And we're doing phone banks, hosting really strong rallies, trying to bring as much attention to this as possible, because Republicans are afraid, and they should be afraid of the people that they're doing this to.
The reason Republicans have that veto-proof majority is that State Representative Tricia Cotham recently switched her party affiliation and went from campaigning on abortion rights to voting for the 12-week ban. Do you have any insight into why she switched parties? It's a real head scratcher for a lot of people reading this from outside of the state.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation, I think, going around right now about why Representative Cotham made the choices that she did. And for me, I think it just comes down to the fact that she maybe was never actually a champion for any sort of values that she has, in particular about how she's taken the vote last week, right? I mean, she voted with Republicans, and I think that she owes it to the people of this state to be able to explain why she's having them question democracy right now. People voted her in to represent their values and their